This is Syracuse Sports. This is Brent Axe, and this is a time to get ready for football. Man, talking season is almost over. I'm the one doing the talking, and I'm getting tired of it. I want to see some real football, react to some real football, and I know that you guys do as well. But before we get there, we're going to have a little fun on the podcast today. Now, I tell you all the time, the benefits of being a Syracuse Sports Insider, right? Direct text message access to me anytime, the questions you want me to ask Syracuse players and coaches, the breaking news, the insight, just shooting the bull, talking SU sports, whatever you want. One of the great bonuses of being a Syracuse Sports Insider is you get voice exclusively on this pod. We highlight your texts all the time. We'll be doing that again with our Syracuse football postgame show live after every Syracuse football game this year. But we're going to step it up once again and do our over-under pod. Last year we did this, had a ton of fun. So I gathered together 5 insiders and threw some over-unders at them blind. Our insiders did not know what these were. They had to react on the fly. It was a fun way to preview some things we think could happen for Syracuse football in the upcoming season. So we are going to get to that shortly. We're going to dive right into that. But just want to remind you that we love to highlight your original music here on Syracuse Sports. All the information is in the show notes on how you can get in touch to send me your original music. Do you have original music as an artist? Are you in a band and would love to see your music highlighted? Would love to do it for you. Just get in touch. Again, the info is in the show notes on how we can do that. This one's a little personal for me. I went to high school with my friend Mike O'Hara, who we're going to feature here today. He has played in a number of local bands here in central New York, Dark Hollow included. But this is Mike's band, and it's his new track. It's called Troubles. And I listened to this, and man, I was transported back to sitting by the campfire, listening to Mike play his guitar. We knew back then that Mike was a talented musician and continues to be a talented musician, and sitting around the campfire, drinking some Coca-Colas, right? Having a good time. So why don't you listen to a little bit of Troubles from my friend Mike O'Hara, and then we'll feature the entire song at the end of the podcast. All the info on how you can listen to Mike's music is in the show notes as well. And I would love for you to get in touch to have your original music featured here on Syracuse Sports. So a little bit of Troubles from my friend Mike O'Hara, and then the Syracuse Sports Insider is going to come in and cause a little trouble with some over-unders. Let's get to it.
What he was now wasn't here before. Standing up proud, facing the crowd, some light through the door. Forever in chains, held down by the reins, chasing the track, float on his back down the river of shame. The wind takes me up and away. Feel of your touch, need the dirt and the dust, takes all my troubles.
My guy Nick is here, a passionate Syracuse Sports Insider, a passionate Syracuse fan you can find on social media. He was at our Vegas meetup when we were there last year, and great to see him and hear him on the pod here today. I know you're ready for the season. He's got a Steve Angeli jersey on for
those boys. Let's go.
Watching on YouTube. What's up, my friend?
How you doing, Brent? Good to see you. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Great to have you. I'm glad you could do this. I'm ready for football. I am ready for real football.
You and I both. Been a long time coming, right? It felt like training camp's been taking forever.
It feels like we've been talking about this team all off season, right? Spring, the Calvin Russell thing, the portal, and just all the comings and goings. Like, oh yeah, let's actually do this thing and get at it here. So
9 days. Let's get this thing going.
Here we go, baby. So I got 3 over-unders for you.
Okay.
And just to set this up for everybody, Nick and all of our insiders who are going to do this today, they do not know what these are. I am coming at you blind here, and I'm going to throw it at you, and you just got to react to the pitch, even though you don't know if it's a fastball, a curveball, or whatever the case may be.
I'll give it my best shot, my friend. Let's do it.
Okay. Your first over-under. Syracuse football wins in 2025. Over or under 7.5?
Oh. All right. I think they're going to go 8-4, so I'm going over.
So you're going over. Give me the case for 8-4.
All right. So I think they beat Tennessee. So that's one that most people don't think they're going to do. So I do think they're going to beat Tennessee. I think their losses come at Clemson, against Notre Dame. I think they're going to split with SMU and Georgia Tech.
Okay.
And then I think they're going to split with Miami and Duke. So those are the 4 that one way or the other that's going to happen.
I could see that. I think most people are falling somewhere between that 6-6 and 8-4 record when they're predicting this. I'm glad you said Georgia Tech. For some reason, that does not get mentioned as much as some of those other games do, and it should, because that is not easy. That's Syracuse's second trip to Atlanta this year, and by the time that game rolls around, Georgia Tech could be pretty darn good. And they have.
And I think Haynes King's a great quarterback.
Absolutely.
So he'll be tough to contain 2 years in a row, but we'll see what happens.
Okay, so Nick goes right over the line. 8 wins for the Orange. He's taking the over. All right. Here's your second over-under. Steve Angeli. Total touchdowns. 26.5. You taking the over or under on that?
So McCord was in the 40s last year.
Big year.
Big
record-setting year. Yeah.
So I'll go over.
This is total now. Now, I'm not anticipating Angeli to have a lot of rushing touchdowns, but there were a couple times.
Well, you got to figure if they go 8-4, they're going to make a bowl game, right? Mm-hmm. So that guarantees 10 games. Or I'm sorry, 13 games. And yeah, that's two touchdowns a game.
I'm giving you the whole run. That's it. It's 25.5 total touchdowns. So Angeli starts. He holds the line, holds the job long enough to at least go over 25.5 touchdowns. So he's the guy.
If he plays the full season, over the lock.
So you got the jersey. I was breaking Nick's chops a little bit on the text line. We were going back and forth, and this was before we knew who the quarterback was. There was some rumbles that it could be Ricky, and I was like, "What are you going to do with that jersey if it's not Ricky?" But it ends up being Steve. So out of the chute, at least you've got your Steve Angeli, but you also have a Dan Villari backup for other purposes.
Right. Let's hope that connection we hear quite a bit this year. That'll help the over as well.
They need to. That's the biggest question mark I have on that offense is if Villari is healthy and can be that primary target. I'm in no way comparing him to OG because you just can't do that. That's not fair, but they need him to be an active target in the tight end game.
I seen a post today online on Twitter about what players you think would make an all-ACC team from Syracuse, and one of my assumptions is Villari. So let's hope.
Well, wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to change your third over under.
Okay.
While we're on the subject. It is on my list, so I'm going to throw this at you.
Okay.
Dan Villari, over or under 6.5 touchdowns? It's a big number.
I'm not a homer, but I'm going over.
Over for Dan Villari.
Yes.
Okay, make the case for that.
Yes. I think he lands between 7 and 9, 8 probably, somewhere in that range, 7 to 9. Yep.
Where I could see it is Angeli seems to be an intermediate quarterback. Not that he can't throw the deep ball. He can, right? Red zone. So Cook's going to be his primary look. And you're going to have times where Gill's covered. You're going to have times where JRS, he just can't go up and get it. Villari's just going to slither open, a little slant route into the end zone.
And let's face it, that offense, I mean, we saw what OG did last year in that offense, right? And you're asking Villari to do half of what he did. I mean, I think it's very possible.
Coming off blocks could be the case. All right, that's a big one.
Yeah.
You should strut around on social media and other places if you're right about that at the end of the season, because you called it first.
Let's just hope Syracuse wins enough games and then everybody's happy.
There you go. Speaking of which, before I let you go, so you had a great, it's almost like a manifesto on Twitter about why you believe Syracuse is going to beat Tennessee, what Tennessee is kind of all about coming into this year, and maybe the brand name is affecting how people look at this game. So I'm going to give you the floor for a minute here, Nick.
I
know you're gonna pick Syracuse to win, but give me the case. Why does Syracuse beat Tennessee?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. In my post yesterday, said the same thing, right? They're just giving them a lot of credit based on who they are as a national brand, not as a team. Their offense is completely brand new. They have 7 scholarship receivers with none that have any real game experience. They're replacing 4 starters on the offensive line, and they're replacing the SEC Player of the Year in the backfield. And then to top it off, they have a quarterback that's coming from Appalachian State who threw 24 interceptions in 2 seasons there. And they lost their 5-star quarterback to start that whole process. So, I mean, their offense is completely revamped, and it's going to take time for them to gel, you know?
I feel like this game could come down to who gets comfortable first. And I think you could say that about a lot of teams in their first game, but particularly when it's a big matchup like this. It's one thing when Ohio's your first opponent like last year versus Tennessee, but whoever finds that footing and look, Syracuse has 4 new offensive linemen, a new quarterback, and talent in the wide receiver room, but they all got to get in sync in a defense that has to lock down a little bit. And we all can agree, Tennessee is a great defense. And still,
I think your defense is probably top 5, top 10 in the country. No question about it.
Take the under on this one. Yes, we were saying
the under
earlier,
for sure.
Take the under on
Take
this
the
one,
under
for sure. All right. Give me a score. What's Syracuse, Tennessee?
28-16 Syracuse.
28-16, which I'm not
touchdown
great at math,
3 field goals.
but that does come under where we're at right now.
Yep, touchdown and 3 field goals for the Vols.
Nick, great stuff. Always appreciate your insight. Thank you for being a Syracuse Sports Insider, and I know I'll see you down the road here at some point here, but thanks for hopping on the pod with us today, my friend.
Thanks, Brent.
My guy Mark is here, and many of you watching and listening to the pod know Mark is TexanMark. He is big on the Syracuse football tailgating scene. Good to see you, my friend, and give me the plans. Where are we going this year? How's the TexanMark tailgate coming together for 2025?
Well, we got another busy year coming up for away games. We're starting off at SMU. We've got about 80 people that you'll see in the upper deck. In the upper deck there. So if you see a big block of orange on your TV set, that will probably be us. And then from there, we're going to go to Georgia Tech. Smaller group there. We'll have maybe about 40 or so there. And then we ended up at Miami, and we've got a mix of people that are going to be sitting in the club seats and then up high on the 50 in the at midfield. So we're breaking up there with 2 groups. And so we've got quite a few tailgates coming up this year for away. And then hopefully, who knows, maybe we'll have a tailgate for a bowl game too.
Yeah, there you go, my friend. And what a year for road trips, Mark. I've never seen it like this. Obviously, they're tough games, but the opportunities to go on road trips, Atlanta twice. If you've never been to Death Valley, you want to see Clemson, that's a great trip. Obviously, South Bend, that is a bucket list trip for any college football fan, especially when your team is there. So opportunities abound to travel this year and have some great tailgate opportunities. I'm curious, does the menu change at each tailgate, or you kind of have like a standard menu that you can travel with? I guess
we pretty much have a standard menu. Of course, we Hoffman Snappy Grillers are kind of the number one favorite thing for a lot of people. When I'm down in the South doing these things, people love those. So, I'm up here in New York right now, and we'll be traveling back with, many pounds of them. They're great. You can stick them in the freezer for months, and they taste just great. Even when you thaw them out. We right now, the Georgia Tech one and Miami one will probably do a little bit more extensive menu because it's a smaller group. We'll be doing some smashed burgers or something like that along the way. So, but it's pretty basic because when you're on the road, you don't have a whole lot of support there. So it's pretty much a self-contained thing. So there's a formula that I use. you have your conies, you have some pre-made sandwiches, and your beer and soda and all that good stuff, and kind of keep it simple, stupid. Use the kiss
There you
on
go.
that.
What's the favorite thing you've ever had at one of your tailgates that you've made, somebody else has made, some barbecue or whatever it is? What's something you'd love to see come back? Yeah,
we've had some. We've had one of the things we had were the New Jersey style, pork rolls. We've had those.
Yeah.
Those are really, we did those for Maryland, and we've been afraid to do them since then after how that game in 19 happened. So, hopefully we'll pull those out again. Maybe we'll do them if we end up going out to an Akron or a Buffalo, we'll pull them out for that. We're pretty much guaranteed to win. I got to break the ice on those again. So those are good. I mean, smash burgers are really good. So the home tailgate is where we really get into, the heavy duty food. I mean, it's amazing what they put on there at the old Syracuse tailgate. Now we're going back to our roots, and we're going to be called the Fine Mess tailgate again over in the Stadium West area there. So, we're probably the largest tailgate in Syracuse. And, we have quite a few people that show up at those.
Another Fine Mess tailgater was one of our over-under participants here, our friend Mark in the past. And Mark's been very passionate in inviting Uncle Brent to come over to the Fine Mess tailgate. So I'm making a pod guarantee, Mark. I'm not going to tell you when because I still want a little mystery here. But Uncle Brent's going to show up at one of the Fine Mess tailgates.
That's awesome.
And I'm just saying, Colgate is my birthday.
Okay. Sounds good.
Maybe some birthday shots beforehand, as long as you don't tell my boss, right? Some Jell-O shots, something like that.
I might be doing jambalaya for that one.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. Fantastic.
But we'll have a lot of other things there too. But
okay, just saying, save a spot. I might drop by. Maybe some birthday cookies or something. Just putting it out there into the universe.
There you go.
All right, my friend, you ready? Here we go.
Yep.
Got a few over-unders for you. Demetrius Samuel Jr. Over or under 2.5 touchdowns? As we know, the young man will be on both sides of the ball.
I am going to go over because I think he'll have probably one pick six, and he'll probably have 2 touchdowns from on the offensive side. So I think it'll be easy to say, let's go over on that.
To hear you say that, maybe I went a little low on that. You got some value on 2.5 at this point. Yeah, I mean, I'm as intrigued as anybody to see how they use him on the offensive side of the ball because it's, as you know, a deep receiver room, but they're going to put him out there, and he's fast, and he's going to be in specialized situations where he can't get those touchdowns. And yeah, he's 17 years old, but we're talking about a couple of games, you can have a pick six against Colgate or UConn or just that opportunity that's going to come from a talented player. So I like that pick, and I would be inclined to take the over myself. Yassine Willis, over or under 950 rushing yards?
I'm going to go under on that.
Okay.
And I think that's because it's going to be running back by committee somewhat this year. So I think we're going to see Nixon get his yards, and then the third stringer will, whoever that may be, will get his yards too. So I think he's going to have a good season, but I think it's probably in the neighborhood of 700, 800 yards is what I'm thinking.
I would agree with that. I love Yassine Willis. I'm the president of his fan club, but I agree with what you said. With Will Nixon there, I see them splitting carries, and you can't ignore Malachi Coleman and Malachi James, I should say, who he's just been breaking out in camp. I've heard good things about what he did at the scrimmages. I just have this vision in my head at one of the practices we were at, Mark, and Robert Wright, the linebacker coach, I can't remember exactly who he was disciplining, but he's like, that's the fastest player in the country. If you don't get your hands on him, he's going to break one out, right? So I could just see that happening a couple times this year, and you got to get him on the field. Okay, third one for you. Total kick return touchdowns. Okay, kickoffs, punts, speaking of young Malachi James, who will be doing that along with Johntay Cook. Total kick return touchdowns, over or under 3.5?
I'm going to go under on that. I think they'll probably get 1 kickoff return and probably 1 punt return, maybe 2. I mean, I think it's so hard to return. I mean, the schedule that we're playing, we're going to be playing some of the best players out there in the country. So I think that's what's going to temper my enthusiasm on that. I think we'll get some, but I don't think it's going to be that many.
You tend to go low on a number like that. There is some speed back there with Cook. Malachi actually told me the other day, like he with a smile on his face, guaranteed he's going to take one back this year. So I enjoy that confidence. But 3.5 is a big number, right?
That is.
Even at 2.5, I would probably take the under on that one. But
yeah,
if I could lock it, I could almost put in a bet that they're going to bring back at least 1 or 2 this year. You feel it with the crew that's back there returning kicks. All right, Mark, best of luck on the tailgates. Football is here. We're ready. I know you guys are ready at the Fine Mess tailgate, so we'll see you there for starting the season for Connecticut and throughout the home season. And thank you for being an insider. Thanks for all your great insight and your passionate tailgating advice for everybody and the great job that you guys do every week. We will see you soon.
Yeah, and before I leave, I will.
Oh, sure.
I will give you my prediction on wins. I think we get to 6 wins this year.
Okay.
And I think we make a bowl game, and whoever we play in that bowl game, I think we're going to win handily. But I think we're going to probably lose 1 at home, and we're going to take 1 on the road. So that's what I'm looking at right now.
If I push you up against the wall, made you pick that one road game, which one do you think it's going to be?
Probably Georgia Tech.
The one you'll be at. There you go.
Yeah, I think we'll do that one. And Miami could be a wild card. You never know what you're going to get with Miami. So, but I think Georgia Tech would be the one, and then we're going to lose, either to Pitt or to UNC, one of those games at home. But it's probably our nemesis, be Pitt. I hate to say it. We need to beat those guys.
Yeah.
But yeah,
especially after what happened last year. That'd be a little sweet revenge game at the Dome this year. All right. Bonus record prediction from Mark. He's got him 6-6, and they'll be tailgating at that bowl game wherever it is. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, Frank. We were just talking a little bit here. I think you and I are both at the point where it's like, let's just get it on, man. Let's just get on the field. Syracuse, Tennessee. Let's see some football. But before we get there, we've got a few over-unders here that I want you to take a shot at. You ready for this?
Absolutely ready.
All right. Justice Ross Simmons told my colleague Chris Carlson that he is going to be a 1,000-yard receiver this year. So that is the first one I throw to you, my friend. Justice Ross Simmons, over or under 1,000 receiving yards this year?
I would like to say over, but I do think under, and for 2 reasons. One, I mean, and it's probably going to be a theme throughout the year, but we know the schedule is brutal, and so it's going to maybe bring those numbers down a little bit. And then also, I think that they have several talented wide receivers, so I think they're going to spread the ball around quite a bit. I don't think it's going to be kind of last year was a little bit Pena and Meeks, kind of a little bit of a 2-man show there. I think we're going to have more receivers getting in the action more often, so it might cut down on his opportunities.
I completely agree with you. Jackson Meeks just got over the hump last year, 1,021 yards. Now, this does include a bowl game if they get there. I should mention that. I don't know if that changes your answer or not. But you got JRS, you got Gill, you got Cook. Last year, you had OG in the mix. I don't know how much they're going to use the tight end this year. We'll see if Valari and Jamie Tremble can get in that mix. But I'm with you. I think that could be a good answer in the sense that Steve Angeli, or Ricky Collins, if he ends up in there, spreads the wealth a little bit with those 3 receivers. I think someone getting I love JRS's confidence, but I think someone getting 1,000 yards is going to be tough in this offense. And again, that could be a good thing.
I think Johntay Cook is going to have a big year. He'd be the guy for me. I think is going to surprise some people. So,
all right. We're going to stay on the offensive side of the ball for you here. Yassine Willis, my guy. Over or under 10.5 touchdowns, rushing touchdowns?
I go over for Willis. I think he's about to have a breakout year. And I agree with you. I've been loving him since last year. I've always, you always have great things to say about him. I think he's going to have a big year. And I think they're going to count on him a lot as well to create that balance in the offense. I was listening to, the podcast you guys did on Monday, and you're talking about, hey, we got to be under center a little bit more and create a little bit more balance. We don't have Kyle McCord this year, so I think he's going to get a lot of touches. Nixon's going to get touches as well, but I think we're going to see Willis have a big year.
That's the one thing, Frank, that might make me take the under on that. As much as I love Willis, I think they are going to spread the ball a little bit with Nixon. You got Malachi Coleman knocking on the door. He's going to get some rushes. I've heard some great things. I've seen great things from him in camp, but heard some things from those scrimmages that he had some big runs. He's one of the fastest players in college football. So if I had to put some hard-earned money on it, I don't know if I would take the over on that, but I still think everything you said is true with Willis. They're going to run the ball more. They've got to feature him more. That offensive line, I think, can mix the run blocking and the pass blocking with the versatility that they have. And I think he is due for a breakout year. Last year, he got in there just enough, got a taste of it. LaQuinn Allen was the guy that led the way, of course. But they were 124th in the country running the football last year, which still blows me away when you think about all the big plays LaQuinn Allen had. But obviously, with the number one passing offense in the country, the running game takes a backseat. But I'd be stunned if it was that low this year. I think they're going to run the ball. We'll need to run the ball a little bit more this year. All right, Frankie, here's your third one. We're going to go on the defensive side of the ball this time. All right. Syracuse's leading tackler. I'll give you anybody. Okay. You can give me a name if you want, but Syracuse's leading tackler will be over or under 93 tackles. I'll give you a hint. Okay. I'll give you a little help. That was who led the team in tackles last year. That was the number.
Okay. Who was it?
It's Justin Barron.
Was it Justin Barron? Okay.
It's Justin Barron. So will Syracuse's leading tackler this year be over or under 93 tackles?
I'm going to go under.
Okay.
I'm worried about the defensive line in particular. I think the linebackers and the secondary will be okay, but I'm worried about the defensive line, and I think we might see some more rotation. There's less. Last year going into the season, we kind of really knew a lot of those spots across the defense who was going to be there. Now there's some more question marks. So we might see some more rotation, especially early in the year when maybe they're still trying to figure out, who the guy is going to be in those first few games. So I'm going to go under on that one.
The only reason I agree, I would take the under. The only reason I'd be tempted to take the over is a guy like Gary Bryant could just pile up tackles. He had 106 tackles. Now that was at the FCS level, a little different. He was the guy on that defense. I think he could be a big guy on this defense, but I agree with you on the defensive line. I'm still watching that very closely. I think Derek McDonald is also going to take away some of those tackles. It's almost like what we were saying with the receivers. I think it's going to be spread out a little bit more. I don't know if one guy kind of takes the numbers there, but if I had to bet on somebody, Gary Bryant would be that guy. Now, before I let you go, Frankie, just what are you thinking? Syracuse, Tennessee, big matchup to open the season. Syracuse a big underdog in this one. I'd be inclined to take Syracuse on the points if for entertainment purposes only. But give me a score on that one. What do you think in opening game?
Score. I haven't seen the spread yet. My thing, I guess, just about this entire season is with all these tough games, we just obviously you want them to win every game, but my biggest thing is let's see them be as competitive. Let's see them be open this season and be really competitive, right? Let's not get our doors blown off on national television. So I unfortunately, I don't think they're not going to win it. I think they have too many question marks and too many new guys coming in. But I think they'll hang in there. I think it'll be like 31-21, they're not going to get smoked, but I don't think they're going to, hopefully they'll hang in there for 3 quarters and maybe Tennessee pulls away at the end.
So you'd get the cover on most, it depends on where you go and which service you use, but I've seen Syracuse, Tennessee somewhere around 14.5.
Okay.
So that's a big number for an opening game. Tennessee has just as many holes to fill on their offense. Their defense is great. I mean, there's just no doubt about that. But 14.5 is a big, big number for the opening game. So I think what you said made a lot of sense there, my friend. Frankie, thanks for being an insider. Good luck with everything this year. Frank's a teacher. He's getting ready to go back to school after a hard-earned summer off. And we're here. Football is ready to rock, and we appreciate you coming on and doing this, my friend.
No problem. Thank you.
We got Chris here. He's got the Syracuse UNLV shirt on. He was in Vegas last year. He was at our insider meetup as well. Great to see you, my friend. How you doing?
Brent, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
So before we get into the over-unders here, just how you feeling here on the eve of the season, talking season just about over here. We're ready to see some real football. How you feeling about this team?
Oh man, I was reading all of the articles you guys published the last couple of days, and
Thank you.
7-5. I will take 7-5 every day of the week. If you were to tell me 7-5, Pinstripe Bowl, sign me up. Now I'm afraid because that's going to mean that Fran Brown's going to come knocking on my door someday. Hell, you have no faith in us, but man, I mean, that schedule is just brutal. I mean, it's a brutal schedule, no matter how you slice it. And with a lot of those games on the road, if he can get to 7-5, sign him up, give him a contract extension, give him whatever he wants. He gets to 8-4, build him a statue.
Right?
You build the guy a statue.
It's funny, Chris, how you spend and football this happens more in football than any sport, because you have this whole off season to talk yourself into a narrative. And eventually, I brought this up before, there's always a number that kind of blinks in my head like a neon light, and it is 7-5. That is my official prediction. I mentioned it here on the pod and on syracuse.com, as you noted. But sports is not like that. Sports is not scripted, and we're looking at the schedule, and I think we're going to look back at the end of the year and those 2 or 3 big surprises that maybe you didn't see coming or maybe just are hard to see. That's what sports does. And I feel like I'm not going to officially predict this. I don't know if I have the guts to, but my feeling is we're going to look back on that schedule and say, man, what were we so worried about? Like, they're going to pull off a couple wins that maybe people didn't see coming. What they've got to avoid is the losses that no one sees coming, like Stanford and somewhat Boston College last year. BC's a rival, and that can happen, but you got to avoid the pothole like they had with Stanford last year.
But you made a good point in one of your articles this week about, I mean, effectively Fran Brown's playing with house money, right? I mean, he's 10-3 ranked season. If they go 4-8, no one's going to be like running around with the pitchforks and like, oh, we got to fire. I mean, he is building the program. There is excitement, and look, not to quote Greg Robinson, but it's a snowball that's going to catch fire, right? I mean, you got fans who are excited. I mean, you've got donors who are giving. There's a feeling, that Syracuse. I mean, like, I'll admit, I'm shocked when I go on ESPN. You look at the class rankings, and there's Syracuse. Like, we're getting these recruits and these players that's
the big thing.
Yeah, that we were told for years, no one's going to come to Syracuse. Well, I mean, you look at Angeli. What is he? What was he? A 4-star from Notre Dame?
Yeah, big time prospect.
He's going to come to Syracuse,
right?
And yeah, some of it's NIL and money, but at the end of the day, they could go anywhere, but they're coming here to Syracuse.
Well said, my friend. All right, you ready for some over-unders here?
I am.
Okay. Total attendance at the JMA Wireless Dome. I almost said Carrier Dome. I still do it.
I know, right?
Okay. I'm going to give you over or under. Pardon me, not total attendance, average attendance at the JMA Wireless Dome. Okay. So home games, I'm going to go over or under an average of 40,000 people per game.
Over.
You take the over on that. The fans are buying in. Okay.
I'm going to go over. I think, look, they're playing Colgate. That's going to drop the number, but not that much because Colgate's going to have fans who are going to travel, right? It's not like we're playing.
That's a Friday night game. I think the students will be there, and happens to be Uncle Brent's birthday, by the way, everybody. Just take note of that.
Happy birthday. But it's not like playing Wagner or some other no-name directional Division I AA. So I think that'll juice the attendance. And look, I think if they beat Tennessee, oh, man, I mean, I think you're going to have the fans are going to show up. And look, we all know Syracuse fans can be fickle, but this is you beat Tennessee and Atlanta, an SEC school, fans are going to be all over the place. Plus, you also have the UConn game. I mean, UConn fans are going to travel for that. I mean, their team was 9-3 last year.
Chris, I've seen it every time. If Syracuse wins that first game, and you said it, in this case, it's Tennessee, there's always a surge into that first home game if they start on the road. So just a reminder of the home slate. It's UConn, Colgate, Duke, Pitt, North Carolina on Halloween, which is going to be a heck of a show one way or the other. and then they'll close the season against Boston College. Now that's after Thanksgiving. The students won't be in town for that one. So I don't know if that changes your answer or not, but he's taking the over. He's got faith in the fans. The average attendance will be over 40,000.
You got two rivalry games. You got two local teams in UConn and Colgate. They'll go over.
All right. Second one for you. Daryl Gill, over or under 6.5 touchdowns?
Under.
You take the under on that. Why do you think that?
Look, I mean, it goes back to the fact that their running game, what was it ranked last year? 125?
125, yeah.
So I think they're going to try to establish the run. I think that's going to take away receiving touchdowns. And look, I mean, I know Syracuse, obviously, they lost Trevor Pena. They lost Gatson. I mean, they lost talent. But it's a deep wide receiver room, and that's a lot of balls that are going to get spread out. So I'm taking the under.
I tend to agree with you in how they're going to spread the wealth in that wide receiver room. I'm actually going to take the over on this one. Gill gets open. Gill does not drop the ball, and I feel like they're going to take shots with him into the end zone. And if you're giving me the entire season, I'm going to take that's 6 touchdowns. I will take 6 touchdowns. Someone's got to catch the ball in the end zone, and they're going to target Justice Ross Simmons. Johntay Cook's going to have a lot of catches. He might take that over, Chris, because he's going to get a lot of yak, as Paul Pasqualoni used to say, and get in the end zone. But the way that you're right, they're going to try and establish the run more this year, but just the way that they do spread the wealth and just how active that passing game is. And I feel like there's a few games they're really going to have to ratchet up the offense, SMU in particular. That's going to be a shootout in a few other games that fit that description. I'm actually going to take the over on that one. I got faith. Okay. We're going to jump on the defensive side of the ball now.
Okay.
Devin Grant, over or under 3.5 interceptions?
Over.
Over for Grant. Okay.
I'm going to go over. I don't have a logical answer as to why.
Just a gut feeling.
But I think the defense will be better. I think to your earlier point about SMU, I think there's going to be a few shootouts, and look, that's just more opportunities. But I mean, 3.5. I might regret that, but I'm going to go. I'm going to take the over. I'll take the over.
I like the faith there. I like the gut feeling. He's the primary safety back there, of course, along with Deuce Chestnut, in a secondary that's got some moving parts and some new guys. Of course, Demetrius Samuel starting and Chris Peel starting, and a couple other guys who got to work out who's going to take over at the star position. Justin Barron led this team with 93 tackles last year. He was all over the place, right? Yeah. I just feel like Grant is, remember, there is Colgate on the schedule. There is a UConn on the schedule. Like, he could pile up a few, and you look up at the end of the year, and he's got 4 or 5 interceptions. I like what you're saying there. I do feel I would take the under on that because I feel like he'll have a couple. The corners will have a couple, and Deuce Chestnut's going to ball hawk a little bit, but we're going to look back at the end of the year and we're going to say, Chris told you, over on the 3.5.
I mean, look, 3 interceptions against Colgate is 3 interceptions. That's the number, right?
And you're there. Exactly. All it takes is one big game. That's exactly right. Chris, thank you, my friend. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Thanks for hopping on, and thanks for being a Syracuse Sports Insider. Chris is one of our more passionate insiders. Love hearing from Chris and his comments for post-game shows and the pod itself. And let's get it on, man. It's time to play some football.
Let's do it. Thank you, Brent.
Our official San Diego correspondent, Mark, is with us here. And I don't know, Mark, I thought you'd be at like the beach or something, make us all jealous, with the sunshine in the background, but that's okay.
I'm like the rest of you guys. I need to go to work. The beach isn't too far away, but listen, Green Lakes is beautiful this time of year as well.
That's where I should be doing this, and you should be at the beach doing this. But like I said, we're grinding, baby. We got a season underway in just a few days here, Syracuse and Tennessee. The Insiders have been throwing some great over-unders at us, and I've got a few for you, my friend. You ready for this?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. Johntay Cook, new Syracuse transfer wide receiver. Over or under 900 receiving yards?
Well, I did some prep work before I came on with you today, and
I love it.
And you asked a similar question about a newcomer we had from Georgia at 700 yards. So I look at Johntay, and geez, we've been hearing great things about him. And again, he's been brought in, I think, as a Trevor Pena replacement. He's even wearing his number this year. 900 yards. Well, with the amount of great receivers we have, and I think they're going to spread it around, I'm going to have to take the under on that one, Brad.
I agree.
I think he's going to have a great year. I think, 700 yards. He sounds mature. He sounds like he's ready for prime time. And I look at him and Darryl Gill as being 1-2. So I think he's going to have a great year, but 900, I'm going under on that.
The reason I would be tempted to take the over, and I would take the under on that myself, Mark, is I think that there is a connection building with Steve Angeli and Johntay Cook. And inevitably, look, when the defense is bearing down on you, you got half a second to make a decision. I think Cook's going to be that outlet, like Trevor Pena was a year ago. But the reason I'm going to take the under is what you said. I think they're going to spread the wealth on this offense this year. And I would take the under on almost any receiver you would throw at me. And that's a compliment to what I think Jeff Nixon is going to try to do with this offense and how Angeli is going to engineer it here. But that brings me into my next over-under, Mark. I don't know if you prep for this one. I like to throw some things at people that maybe they couldn't think about. But Ricky Collins, over or under 9 total quarters of football played as the starting quarterback or as a quarterback. It could be an injury replacement. It's just he plays over or under 9 quarters of football this year.
Yeah, so you're essentially asking me, is Steve Angeli going to go the whole thing wire to wire? And we were fortunate to have that last year with Kyle. I don't see it happening this year. In the transfer portal era, we've got 4 or 5 new starting offensive linemen. I hope they protect him well. He's more of a drop back type of quarterback. I'm going to take the over. I think Ricky, I think he's going to play and he's probably going to play, barring injury. And we hope we don't see that. I think he's going to, as we get to the middle of the season, we've got such a tough schedule. I think he's going to be in there as the starting quarterback at some point this year. So I'm going over on that.
It was a razor thin competition. I think Angeli's got every opportunity to win the job. But as you said, we saw a situation last year that was unique. Kyle McCord just never had to look at the sideline and be worried that he was going to be replaced. If Angeli struggles a little bit, that's going to bubble up. So I think I'd be inclined to take the over on that one as well.
Yeah.
Third one for you, Mark. Non-offensive touchdowns. So you get defense and special teams and something I'm not even thinking of here.
Yep.
4.5. Over or under 4.5 non-offensive touchdowns for Syracuse this season.
Well, I think it's going to come punt return for a touchdown. Geez, I haven't seen that in a long time. If we've got Johntay back there, he's explosive. He's electric. And then if we're looking at kickoffs, if we've got Malachi with his speed and a ball hawking defense, the only pause I have for that is I don't know how much pressure we're going to get on the quarterback. I hope it comes because that speeds up the quarterback's timing and that can lead to interceptions. Boy, that's a tough one. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going the over on that one.
All right. There you go. They didn't have a lot of defensive touchdowns last year, but key touchdowns when they needed it. Notably, Devin Grant against Miami had a huge defensive touchdown. And you said it too. Cook looks primed to break one away. Malachi James actually told me, Mark, he almost like guaranteed the fact he's going to take one back this year.
Well, I'm counting on him now.
You need him. He's feeling it too. So if you just sprinkle in a couple special teams touchdowns, and we all know Syracuse's special teams could use the improvement this year, that would be an over I would take as well. I think they're going to have between that and the defense. You give me 5 touchdowns, non-offensive. I'm going to ride that for an entire season.
I love it. And I've got a question for you.
Okay.
I'm looking at their road schedule, and it's the most brutal I've ever seen. Over or under for you, are they going to get 2 road wins this year, including Tennessee as a pseudo road game?
Yeah, that counts. If I get Tennessee, that counts. So we're talking Tennessee, we're talking Clemson, Miami, Notre Dame, SMU.
And Georgia Tech.
And I get Georgia Tech too, which is not an easy road game. Wow. That's a great number you set it at too, because I feel like they can get 2. Actually, that would be my answer, Mark. I would probably go a push on that.
Yeah.
I think they will win 2 on the road. Tennessee is a distinct possibility, and I think they could snag another one. I think they could beat Miami at Miami. Georgia Tech is going to be a tough game. There's going to be a little revenge factor in there. I think Georgia Tech's a really good team. It's going to be ranked by the time Syracuse goes to Atlanta for a second time this year and faces them. So I'm going to push on that. I say they get 2 road wins.
Yeah.
Of those 5. Yes.
And I'm thinking SMU. I think that's one of the pivotal games, and the Carolina game at home on Halloween. Those, to me, are the 2 pivotal games. If they can avoid having a home loss, and if they can steal an SMU or a Tennessee, who's, first-time quarterbacks on both, I'm looking at a great season. Maybe not as many wins as last year, but again, it's a completely different animal this year, and I'm just so positive and so happy for what Coach Fran's done, and it reinvigorated the whole community.
Mark, it's great to see you. Great to get your perspective. Appreciate you throwing an over-under at me, too. That was a nice curveball there. That was good stuff.
I'm
Get
looking
to the
at
beach.
2 road wins.
Come on, you don't have to work. Get to
All
the
right,
beach.
I'll tell my boss Brent said so.
Exactly. You've got a permission slip from me.
All right, sounds great.
What he was now wasn't here before. Standing up proud, facing the crowd, some light through the door. Forever in chains, held down by the reins, chasing the track, float on his back down the river of shame. The wind takes me up and away. Feel of your touch, need the dirt and the dust, takes all my troubles. Circle begins, creating light from within. Brought to the edge, back from the ledge, round and round it begins. Cut from the knife, chasing slivers of lies, forming the truth to bond me and you in this human divide. Far apart and away, the feel of your touch, neath the dirt and the dust, takes all my the door. Forever in change, held down by the reins, chasing